Okay, we're going to do 4, maybe 5 if you want me to do one more. We can do that. So the first one's asking for moles. So, but does anybody have an idea of how I would start out the process of determining moles? Okay, so you're saying take all these weights, add them up, and once we add them up, what is that? An example, that's a molar mass. So that is what, grams per mole, right? If I add those all up, that gives me grams per mole. So that's there's my conversion. So anytime of a compound that you're asked for moles or grams, you always got to figure out the molar mass, right? So that those who struggled on the quiz, that was the first question asked for the molar mass. That's something that's going to be pretty much automatic from now on. I mean, you're going to have to quickly go through those and do those. So go ahead, I'll give you a minute, and then I'll give the answer. Okay, so find the molar mass of that. You guys should not take a long time figuring molar masses anymore. It should go pretty quick. Find the symbol, multiply it out, add them all up. And that's your molar mass. You have to get quick at doing this, because if you've got, a bunch of problems on a test where you have to do this type of activity, you can't take a long time deciding where sulfur's at on the periodic table, what its mass is. Okay, you have to just multiplying and adding, and then you're done. And that's your molar mass. Okay? Okay, what'd you get? 142.05. Okay? Anybody have questions on that? So, I mean, any more, you guys have graphing calculators, you could probably plug them into that way. You don't have to write them down. Okay? If you got a graphing calculator, all the work is right there. You can double check and make sure. Right? So it's 142.05. Guys, if you're off a little bit on this last part, it's probably not going to change your answer overall. I mean, if you're like 0.0, 4 or 0.06 or 0.07, or because you're reading it in a certain way, probably not going to matter in the overall scheme, because that would be 5 digits, and we're only going to use 3 digits in our answer. So then, what's the next thing I need to do? This is what a mole is. I've got 25 grams. So what do I need to do the next step? Go ahead. I got to divide, right? I got to get rid of grams. So I got to take the 25 grams of the Na2SO4. I got to put grams down here and moles up here. For some reason, students are still struggling where moles go and grams go on problems. Sometimes they're putting 1 down here, and up here they put the 142. If you put your units in, you can see that's not going to work. Moles can't cancel grams out. It's got to be grams on the bottom so it can cancel out grams. So make sure you're putting your units in before you put your numbers if you struggle with that concept, that idea, okay? I like chemistry, I teach it, and I liked it in school, because it's logic to me. I understand that I don't have to memorize a formula. You guys like memorizing formulas? Who likes memorizing formulas in here? You don't have to memorize a formula. All you have to do is go, I know that unit. And physics is the same way. If you take physics, it's going to be identical. Because everything's unit-based. And if you know how to cancel units out, you got tremendous ability to solve any problem. Because the unit should always work out to the unit that you're trying to solve for. Whatever that be. Mass, moles, atoms, whatever. Okay? Does that make sense? That's why I like chemistry. I don't like biology as much because I did major in that but I haven't taught it for 25 years and really wouldn't know much about it anymore. Okay? But chemistry, I don't have to memorize stuff. I got my periodic table. I got charges. I got masses. I got all the information. I just have to know how to use it. And once I know how to use it, then they're pretty similar in all problems. So 0.176 moles of Na2SO4. And we've done this process before, right? We've done this a lot. And so all we're doing is adding in, you've got to find the molar mass of that to complete your problem. Questions? All right. Let's do another one, okay? And let's go ahead and I'll give you an easy molar mass so you don't have to spend a lot of time figuring out. Sometimes I'll give you the molar mass on the test. I'll give it to you because repetition is, if you prove to me you know how to do it, then I'm not going to have you do it on every single problem. Okay? But I'm not going to give you it on this one. Okay? So, grams, you give it moles, you got to find the molar mass. So, what's the molar mass of water? You got it right off the hand? How much? 18.02. Okay, you'll start memorizing the numbers. The hydrogen, 1.01. Oxygen, 16. You got two of them. So, you should get to the point where you don't have to look at the periodic table all the time, especially with some of those common elements that you see over and over and over again. And you'll get better at it. Okay? Why don't you just try to guess and remember what it is, and then you can always double check. Okay, I think H is 1.01. Okay, yeah, I'm right. And then that's kind of a repetition. You don't have to look at it all the time. Yes? So, hydrogen's 1.01, got two of them, 2.02, and then add it to 16, and we got 18.02 grams per mole. Go ahead and do that problem and see if you can get it right based upon what you've done in the past. So go ahead and set up that problem and see if you get it right. Everybody understand significant digits? We don't want to spend a lot of time on that. But, okay? All right. Yes, Jocelyn?
So, like, the gram times mole or whatever, for like the 18.02, that's always you're just going to take that as grams.
Right, because there's no other units left. Yep. So that's when we talk about those units, and you guys know in math when you divide things out, they're gone. And so you can, that's what I said. You know exactly if you're doing it right or not because the units will work out. So that's the nice thing about doing these. Okay? Because I always have students ask me, well, give me the formula for that. Well, I really can't give you the formula for it because your units tell you how you're going to divide that out. It's kind of like converting is all it is. Okay? All right. These are the ones that are a little bit more difficult, but I still don't think they're too bad. So I'm going to give a couple a little bit more difficult, and then I'm going to give you an assignment where you're having to do some of these things, multiple things. Okay. So this one, So anybody have a suggestion of what I need to do? So now I'm asked for how many molecules. So I'm not asking for moles anymore. I'm asking for an actual count. So what number comes in now that I need to plug in eventually to solve this? So how many molecules? Not moles of molecules, but how many molecules? So what number am I going to have to use? That big one, right? Avogadro's number. You guys remember it? 23rd. God, you got it. 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. But I'm going to have to compare that to a mole. So am I going to still have to figure out the molar mass of CH4? I do, because I need to know what a mole is. And the only way I can do that is to convert grams to moles. So go ahead and do the first step. Change grams to moles. Okay? You could do this in one step, but I'm going to show you two steps. And I'll show you the one step, and you guys will have to make the decision which one you understand better, and that's the one you probably should do. So go ahead and convert grams to moles using CH4. So CH4, it shouldn't take you long to figure that molar mass. So, anybody?
16.05.
Okay, 16.05. Carbon's 12.01. Hydrogen's 1.01. You got 4 of them. That's 4.04 total. So 12.01 plus 4.04 is 16.05. So that's 16.05 grams per mole. So then go ahead and convert to moles. So I don't want to stop here because I'll give me moles. I could get an answer and then do the second part. But I'd like to continue on to get my units right at the very end. So I can keep going until I get my units that I'm asked for. So what's my next step? I know that moles have to cancel. So I'll put moles down here. So then what goes up above? That number you guys told me, right? Because I need to know how many molecules I'd have. So up here I'm going to put 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Okay? And my answer is going to be 1.6 times 10 to the 23rd. Molecules. So moles cancel and then with molecules. I'm going to give you one more. We'll do one more. And I know I'm not giving you much time to do your assignment. If you're thinking, I want to get that assignment, get started with it, I really understand that I can do this. Tomorrow, for the most part, all period, you'll have to work on this problem in the beginning. So, tomorrow, I'm not going to be here. You don't get much chance to practice these today. So I'll do one more for you. We'll do one more together. Then I'll give the assignment. And then tomorrow, you'll have a lot of time tomorrow to work on that assignment. Any questions with that? I'm going to give you one, and I'm going to see if you can figure it out from what I give you, the steps, and then I'll do it. I'm going to give some people a chance to see if they can figure out how the units all kind of to work out on this one. Okay? This one is a pretty tough one. This is a challenging one. Okay? This will be a challenging one. I'll see if we can have you figure out what the answer is going to be. Okay? I guess it's not that challenging. We'll see if you can get it. Okay, so your final unit at the end should be grams, and your starting unit at the very beginning of your problem is molecules. So you're starting out with molecules, that's your starting point, right? And then you're asked for how many grams, that's your ending unit. So see if you can go from molecules to grams. It'll be 2 steps you'll have to do. Okay? See if you can do that. Also, I'm giving you something a little bit more complicated to find a molar mass of, so you'll have to make sure you're counting correctly. The calciums, the chlorines, and the oxygens. So see what you can do with that. So we're getting into problems that are multi-step, different things you have to do. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the assignment, and you can have all class tomorrow to work on it and that. So give me a second, and I'll figure that out for you. And then you can write it down and work on it tomorrow. Remember, lab is due tomorrow. Your lab is due tomorrow.
This is what I got in the lab, but I don't know if that's right.